India has now emerged as the world's fourth largest economy and continues to cement its role as a global power. With Prime Minister Modi's presence at the G7 summit, how do you see this influencing Canada's approach to resettling strained bilateral ties, particularly in the wake of past tensions over Khalistan related issues?
Yeah, I mean it's a natural relationship we have to build and harness. The unfortunate part is the Palestinian separatism that's been growing in Canada and flourishing, and that the government let it happen. We should not be having a foreign separatist group threatening our allies. It's completely unacceptable, and by all means equals to terrorism. Um, the relationship with India is much more important than I think pandering to this group because of they can elect a couple politicians in certain ridings now. Um, so it's extremely important to have the Canada's trade with India is essentially a rounding error for both sides. Uh, but the potential and the relation between the two parties is absolutely huge.
Yeah. So, also several Sikh groups have voiced strong opposition to Prime Minister Modi's visit, even staging protests against Prime Minister Mark Carney's invitation. How seriously should Canada view these protests, considering these groups have arguably done more damage to Canada's international image than to India's interests?
Yeah, it's I mean every protest that this group has, like the Khalistani group, they're burning effigies, they're pretending to murder Indian politicians in Moody. Um, they're threatening in one of a couple of the rallies to kill Moody and his political whatever career, whatever that means. Some of their leaders have threatened to bring down airplanes before. So, I mean, at a certain point, you have to actually believe them. It's quite a national security threat, and I think it should be concerning to all.
Yeah, of course. Also, India has been seeking the extradition of 26 fugitives, including several Khalistani extremists, who are currently residing in Canada. So, is PM Carney likely to act on these demands? What do you think? What's your take?
This is what's going to be interesting to watch. So we know that um, Justin Trudeau, our previous prime minister, had a Khalistani leader as a personal advisor that lives in the U.S., which is insane and extremely inappropriate. And he blamed everything on India without even due process on everything that's been happening in Canada with the Khalistani targeting, which a lot of it turned out to be not true, and a lot of it is still in investigation. So the question is, what will Mark Carney do? Because there's already some positive signs with the invitation and with other stuff that he is not interested in that group or is not doesn't have the same influence from the group, which is extremely positive and a lot more level-headed approach. It's a new government, he hasn't really lived in Canada, so he may have not even been exposed to this group yet, but I'm sure they're trying. One of the important things for Canada is, most of our immigration, foreign immigration and student visa comes from India, and we have a huge amount of Punjab-related areas in Canada that have a lot of crime, and I'm sure Mark Carney will have to target it and address it sooner than later.
Also, how critical is Prime Minister Modi's visit when it comes to strengthening trade and economic cooperation between India and Canada?
Yeah, that's what I'm the most excited for. I'm really hoping our relationships are going to be back to normal. We have just so much synergy from energy, from tech, from uh, critical minerals, rare earths that everyone needs. So I'm really hoping that we can create India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. It will be absolutely foolish for Canada not to participate in trade with India. And likewise, one of our fastest growing population in Canada is from India's background. So it's really important to have the close relationship and make sure that everyone grows fruitfully.
Okay, given recent diplomatic strains, what steps is Canada taking to rebuild trust and ensure long-term cooperation with India? What's your take?
Well, it's hard to tell so far. I think the Moody's invitation to G7 is a big step. Uh, it seems like Mark Carney has not even ran that by the Liberal MPs. They have some connections to Khalistanis, which is very positive. I think it shows a clear direction that he just does not care to pander or hear uh, that side of the voice, which is kind of good. We should not be shining away, like I said, our allies because of a foreign separatist group. So far, this has been really positive. It'll be interesting to see what will happen, how it will be developed once Moody is in Canada, and how that relationship will grow, and what will come out of the meetings within the G7. I have no doubt that Canada and Mark Carney will have separate uh, in-depth meetings with Moody. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Also, how do you respond to the recent incident in Vancouver where journalist Mocha Bizirgan was reportedly surrounded, threatened, and had his phone snatched by Khalistani supporters during their rally?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Khalistani supporters attacking people. I mean, everything from uh, Indian worship places to I mean, they even attack each other, right? So any media that's criticizing them online, any personalities that criticizing them online, they immediately attack and have whole or bot organizations that attack and try to dox people and insult people. And in person, they act essentially the same way. It's a highly alarming behavior, but it's essentially what you'd expect from an organization that like that.
Given the recent extradition of Mohammed Shazib Khan, you might be aware about Mohammed Shazib Khan, a Pakistani national residing in Canada, on charges of plotting an ISIS-inspired terror attack in New York. How concerned should Canadians be about the presence and radicalization of extremist elements in the country?
Yeah, I posted on it before at the time of the investigation. The alarming part about, he's not the first and not the last one. It's been essentially happening, some kind of Islamic terrorist related, um, terroristic ambitions have been arrested or, caught in Canada every other week, essentially. It's becoming extremely uh, common. The issue with cases like him is that Canada didn't even really know what was happening until the US told them. So the alarming part what's happening with Canada is that we're so unprepared to deal with this threat. And let's remember, he came here on a student visa, and Canada has mass immigrated millions of people into the last 5 years on student visa. There are no background checks. We have no idea what's happening here. I mean, even one of the recent other duos that's been arrested for terrorism plot was father and son, and the father allegedly has been on an ISIS video cutting a person's head off, and he got a citizenship in Canada. So how does it even make sense? We have huge holes in our system from security, from background checks to everything.
Lastly, pictures and videos of a recent Khalistani rally in Vancouver are going viral, where along with Khalistan flags, a Pakistani flag was also spotted. So, does this not expose Islamabad's hand-in-glove role in fueling a separatism on Canadian soil?
It's not surprising, but I think it's quite interesting that they became so bold and comfortable that they started showing that off. A couple of years ago, I think it was last year, Canada Security Intelligence Services has said that Pakistan, uh, a terror sponsor country, an Islamic terror sponsor country, has been working in Canada with the Palestinian movement. So it's been really well known to our intelligence services, at least for quite some time. And it was the first time that it was during a hearing that our intelligence services actually vocalized that. So it's a good thing that they know it, but now we need to actually see some action about stopping some of those operations within Canada.